So we'll continue with the design of wound rotor. First we'll calculate number of rotor slots. The number of rotor slots should be such that balanced winding is obtained. Generally, winding with integral number of slots per pole per phase are used, and sometimes fractional slot windings may also be used. So coming to number of rotor turns. Rotor turns per phase is equal to TR, which is equal to KWR ER divided by KWS into TS. Using this equation, we can find out rotor turns per phase TR. So ER is the rotor voltage per phase at standstill. ES is the stator voltage per phase. TS is the number of turns per phase of stator winding. KWR is the winding factor for the rotor. KW is the winding factor for the stator. Now here rotor MMF is equal to cos pi times stator MMF. That is equal to 0.85 times stator MMF. So where cos pi is equal to 0.85. So now IRTR, this is rotor MMF, is equal to 0.85 times ISTS. So now IR is equal to 0.85 ISTS divided by TR. So now rotor current per phase can be calculated using this equation, 0.85 into ISTS divided by TR. Okay. Once you find out current, cross-sectional area of the rotor conductor AR is found out using this equation, that is AR is equal to IR by delta R. Delta R is the current density in rotor winding. It is in terms of. Now coming to rotor winding details. For small induction motors, use mesh windings. For rotor housed in semi-enclosed slots. For larger motors, double layer wave type winding is used. Now coming to the finding the rotor slot teeth dimensions. The width of the rotor slot should be such that the flux density in the rotor's teeth does not exceed 1.7 Weber per meter square. So now here you can see this is the teeth. Okay, this is the teeth and this is the slot. Okay, slot pitch is nothing but one teeth and one slot. If you increase the width of the slot, tooth width will become less. Now you should see that the flux density should not exceed 1.7 Weber per meter square. So tooth is made up of magnetic material. So now flux density in the rotor teeth is equal to pi m divided by area of teeth under one pole. So that is flux density in the teeth should not exceed 1.7 Weber per meter square is equal to pi m area of teeth under one pole. That is width of the teeth. This is width of the teeth. Okay, from here to here. You can see here these are the width of the teeth. Okay, right hand side figure, these are the width of the teeth. And into SR by P, number of rotor slots per pole. Number of rotor slots are nothing also equal to number of teeth. This is the slot, along with one teeth will come. So number of rotor slots per pole is nothing but number of teeth per pole. So assume that there is 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth are coming under pole, one under one pole. Okay, under one pole. So now width of the teeth and number of teeth multiplied by Li. This is the Li. This is the Li. So this will give area of teeth under one pole. Area of teeth under one pole. Now from this, minimum width of the rotor tooth WTR can be found out using this equation. You bring this side and you take this side. Okay, WTR you take this side. So WTR minimum is equal to pi m 1.7 pi m divided by 1.7 into SR by P into Li. Actual minimum tooth width provided. Okay, actual tooth width provided WTR is equal to pi into dr minus 2 dsr divided by sr minus WSR. If we take this side, WTR plus WSR, this is WTR, okay, this is width of the rotor teeth, WSR. This means both will give from here to here, from here to here. This is nothing but slot pitch at this diameter. Diameter is this. So what is this diameter? See this diameter, this is the DR from here to here. You have to subtract this depth of the rotor slot, one depth of the rotor slot here and another here. So now here the slot pitch here is equal to pi into bracket dr minus 2 dsr. One dsr here, one dsr here, divided by sr. This will give the slot pitch at the root of the teeth. So where ds are the depth of the rotor slot and WSR is the width of the rotor slot. So this is the minimum width of the actually provided. If this is less than this one, whatever it is provided, if it is less than that one, then flux density will be more than 1.7 over per meter square. Now coming to rotor core. So to find rotor core dimensions, area of the rotor core ACR is equal to here pi m by 2 divided by BCR. Here flux divides in the rotor core. This is the rotor core. Here flux divides. Okay, that's why it is pi m by 2. And flux density in the rotor core, that also equal to flux density in the stator core. So substitute here, this already we know, find out ACR. And at the same time, area of the rotor core is equal to net iron length into DCR. See, flux will flow like this. Like this. This will come like this. Okay. So now here flux divides, it is pi m by 2. Now this from here to here, this is the DCR. This is the DCR. And this DCR multiplied with Li. Multiply with the Li. So this will give area of the rotor core. Area of the rotor core. So this is the core material. Core portion from here to here. Okay. This is the core. So this is the DCR. This is the DCR. So now depth of the rotor core is equal to, now take Li this side, pi m by 2 BCR into Li, where BCR is the flux density in the rotor core. That also equal to flux density in the stator core. Inside diameter of the rotor lamination is equal to, so this is the inside diameter Di. Here shaft will come. So to find the shaft diameter, we should use this equation. Di is equal to dr. This is the dr. From here to here it is dr minus 1 DSR here, 1 DSR here, 1 DCS here, 1 DCR here, 1 DCR here. So dr minus 2 into DSR plus DCR. This will give inner diameter. So this will give that internal diameter of the rotor stack. There is nothing but shaft diameter. Now another factor, that is no load current. So this is another important factor of an induction motor. So to find no load current, we know that no load current consisting of magnetizing component, magnetizing current Im, and loss component IL. Loss component IL. See here, this is the vector diagram. This vector diagram is already discussed earlier. Once again, we will see this is the magnetizing current Im and this is loss component IL. If you add these two, you will get no load current. You will get no load current. Okay. So then how to find out Im and IL? Im and IL. So now here to find Im and IL, so magnetizing current per phase Im is calculated using this equation. 0.427 number of poles, 80-60 ampere turns at 60 degree. kWs TPH, where 80-60 is the ampere turn required to push the flux through the air gap, rotor teeth, rotor air gap, rotor teeth, rotor core, stator teeth and stator core. So where 80-60 is the ampere turns required to push the flux through the air gap, rotor teeth, rotor core, stator teeth and stator core. Now second loss component of the no load current component is IL is equal to total no load losses, divided by 3 into voltage per phase, 3 into voltage per phase. So because this is loss component per phase we are calculating. So total no load losses for all the 3 phases divided by 3 into voltage per phase, where total no load losses is equal to iron losses plus friction and windage losses. So once finding out IM and IL, substitute here. So you can get the no load current I naught. Let us see how to find out 80-60, 80 ampere turns degree. So now owing to variation in the permeability of iron, particularly the stator and rotor teeth, the sinusoidal MMF will produce a flat topped flux density distribution curve as shown in figure. This is the flat. Okay, this is a flat topped flux density curve. That is flattened flux density. In this curve, flux crossing the air gap at 60 degree from the interpolar axis will always give good approximation. This is the interpolar axis, and from here to here it is 60 degrees. 60 degree. Okay, so this is fundamental. But this is the practical waveform. Okay, this is the flattened. This will not having this peak value. So the maximum value of this flattened flux density is this, and this will be occurring at 60 degree from the interpolar axis. Okay, this curve may be also approximated due to a fundamental and third harmonic. So this is the fundamental and this is the third harmonic. If I add these two, the resultant will be this. Here this is plus and this is also plus. The magnitude increases, but here, okay, here the third harmonic will become negative, so the curve will become flattened. Okay. So now we are supposed to find out ampere turns at corresponding to 60 degree from interpolar axis. So now the total magnetizing MMF per pole for B60 is 80-60, that is equal to ATG, that is about ATG plus ATTS plus ATTR plus ATCS plus ATCR. Nothing but ampere turns required for air gap, ampere turns required for stator teeth, ampere turns required for rotor teeth, ampere turns required for stator core, ampere turns required for rotor core. Now 80-60 is equal to that ATG is calculated using this equation 8 lakh BG 60 kg LG, and ATTS is calculated using this equation capital ATTS. Capital ATTS is equal to small ATTS. This is ampere turn per meter multiplied by depth of the stator teeth. This will give ampere turns per meter multiplied by actual height in terms of meter. So if you multiply this and this, you will get capital ATTS. Similarly, ATTR into DTTR will give capital ATTR. Ampere turn required for the rotor teeth into DTR, depth of the rotor TR. Okay, plus similarly ATCS into LCS, that is length of the stator core, plus ATCR into LCR, this is the length of the rotor core. Here ATTS, this small ATTS, okay, and this ATTR and ATCS, these all depend upon the flux density in those portions. So now what is the flux density in the stator teeth? According to that, ATTS we can get from the chart. ATTS we can get from the chart. You can see this is the flux density versus ampere turns. Ampere turns. For corresponding flux density, you will get ampere turns. So this for corresponding flux density in the stator teeth, we get ATTS. For corresponding flux density in the rotor teeth, we get ATTR. For corresponding flux density in the stator core, we get ATCS. For corresponding flux density in the rotor core, we get ATCR. ATCR. Now coming to first factor to find MMF for air gap with reference to flux distribution diagram shown in figure. The MMF for air gap is equal to ATG 8 lakh BG60 kg LG, where BG60 is equal to 1.36 B average. 1.36 B average. This can be calculated as 1.36 times B average. BG60 is the flux density from the interpolar axis as far as the gap and teeth is concerned. Now coming to next factor, MMF required for the stator teeth. MMF required for the stator teeth is equal to ATTS, capital ATTS is equal to small ATTS, ampere turns per meter for stator teeth into ds. So what is the corresponding flux density? That is important at the stator core. So corresponding flux density in the stator teeth, it's not core, stator teeth, BTS 1/3 is equal to pi m divided by area SS by P into Li WTS 1/3. WTS 1/3. Okay, with WTS 1/3 is equal to this. So pi into D plus 2 DSS divided by 3 divided by SS minus WS. Okay. So this will give slot pitch. This will give slot pitch. Slot pitch at 1/3 height. Slot pitch at 1/3 height. Assume that this is 1/3 height. You can see here this. This is 1/3 height. Okay. From here to here it is given. So now this 1/3 height. So now pi d. So this is the diameter. Okay. This is the diameter. Now this is 1/3 height. 1/3 height here. 1/3 height this side. 1/3 height this side. Okay. So d plus 2 times 1/3 height. 2 dss by 3 divided by ss minus wss. This will give width of the stator core at 1/3 height. At 1/3 height. So here, for corresponding to this flux density, you should get the value of ATTS, ampere turns per meter, from the chart for that material. Multiply with the DSS, you will get capital ATTS. Now coming to stator core, so corresponding to flux density in the stator core, the MMF per meter ATCS is found from the figure. Figure is nothing but BH curve. The length of the path through the core can be taken as 1/3 of the pole pitch and the mean core diameter. So ATCS is equal to small ATCS multiplied by LCS, where ATCS is the ampere turns corresponding to flux density in the stator core. So we are assuming flux density in the stator core. For that, corresponding to that flux density, what is the ampere turn per meter required? Ampere turn per required. This you will get. Okay. Multiplied with the LCS. This will give ATCS. Where LCS is equal to this. So pi into D plus 2 DSS plus DCS divided by 3P. Because we are taking at 1/3 height of 1/3 of pole pitch. This 3 is 1/3 of pole pitch. This rest is pole pitch. Now coming to MMF for rotor teeth required is equal to ATTR is equal to small ATTR multiplied by DTTR. So now ATTR, where ATTR, okay, this is TR, ATTR is the ampere turns required at BTR, that is equal to 1.36 into BTR one third height. BTR one third height. Okay. So now can see this is the point. This is the point they have mentioned, one third height. So now flux density at one third height is equal to pi m. This number of rotor slots per pole, nothing but status slots per pole, number of rotor slots per pole. This is SR. This is SR. Okay. This is SR by P into Li into WTR one third height. One third height. So with WTR one third is equal to pi into dr minus 4dsr divided by 3 divided by SR minus WSR. Okay. So now this will give slot pitch at one third height. One third height. So now here diameter in this position, this is the diameter at one third height. Okay. If this area is one third height from bottom narrow end, this must be two third height. This must be two third height. So dr minus two third of dsr. Two third of dsr. One two third of dsr here. Another two third of dsr here. So 2 times dsr by 3. So this is dr minus 2 times 2, 2 dsr by 3. See here, two third of dsr here, two third of dsr. So that's why 4 dsr by 3 minus WSR. So this will give width of the rotor at one third height. Width of the rotor at one third height. Now coming to finding MMF for rotor core. Okay. Corresponding to flux density in the rotor core, the MMF per meter ATCR, this small ATCR, is found from the BH curve. The length of the path through the core can be taken as one third pole pitch at the main core diameter. At the mean core diameter. So ATCR is equal to ATCR into LCR, where ATCR is ampere turns corresponding to flux density in the rotor core. So where LCR is equal to pi into dr minus 2 dsr minus dcr divided by 3 pi. So multiply this LCR with ATCR. ATCR you can find out in the BH curve. Okay, for corresponding to flux density in the rotor core. Once you find out, so this we have found out, ATG, ATTS we have found out, ATTR we have found out, ATCS we have found out, ATCR we have found out. Add all those things, 80, 60, 80, 60. Okay, once you find out this 80, 60, now the magnetizing current per phase IM is equal to 0.427 multiplied by number of poles. 80, 60 you substitute here from this kWs dph. So you will find current, magnetizing current IM. And secondly, loss component of no load current per phase is found out using this equation. IL is equal to total no load losses divided by 3 into voltage per phase. Where no load losses is equal to iron losses plus friction and windage losses. Therefore, no load current I naught per phase is equal to, substitute this IM, substitute this IL, you will get I naught. You will get I naught. So this is equal to no load current I naught. No load current I naught. Okay. Now the no load power factor cos pi naught is equal to IL by I naught. IL by I naught. This is all about the design of three-phase induction motor. So in this one, as far as theory is concerned, the output equation is important, choice of specific loadings is important, and effect of air gap length, that is important, and that is factors affecting the air gap length, and rotor designs. These four things are very important. Okay. So in the next class, we'll study How to anticipate the problems? How to solve the problems?